I bought 4 doors from Home Depot and I just installed them. Now the next step is to put in casing around the door, aka trim. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to install miters that are guaranteed not to crack. So let's get started. First things first is you need a combination square, and you're gonna mark all around about 1/4 of an inch on the jamb itself. And this is exactly where you're gonna put the trim, so you know you have a good reveal all the way around the door. So line that up, boom. Using your tape measure, you want to take a measurement of the bottom of the door all the way to the top corner part on that new fresh mark that you just made. 81 1/4 on the left side and 81 5/16. A tip that helps me not to forget any measurements is I took a little scrap paper and wrote down everything that I needed for the left side, right side, and the top. I got 28 3/4. I'm gonna go ahead and write it on this little piece of paper and then go out and cut all the trim out of the sunroof. I have my 4-inch piece of trim right here. Now I'm gonna go back with my little measurements, my little guide. First one is 81 1/4, and this is where I need a tape measure and my speed square. From the bottom piece of trim all the way to the top, I marked 81 1/4, then took my speed square, and on that line, that's where I start the 45. Now that it's marked, we can go ahead and cut it, and this will be rinse and repeat for both sides of the door trim. This is the part that's necessary to keep those joints together. I have the top piece right here that I cut, and I'm gonna go back with a pocket hole jig and screw on the back side of the top head plate 4 total pocket holes, and that's what's gonna combine the 2 trim legs together and to form the frame, and then we're gonna set it all in place. The top piece has 2 pocket holes on either side. Now I'm going to attach it to the legs using glue, clamps, and pocket hole screws. All right. Now walk it into place. Beautiful. I'm looking over this door and it does look good. However, I do have a little bit of a gap right here and I just can't push it in, I think because the jam's extending over the wall now. Because a lot of people are gonna be going in and out of this half bath and it leads into our living room and kitchen area. I don't wanna just kind of fill this 1/4 inch gap with caulk. So I cut some strips off camera that kind of match the same thickness, and I'll just lay it behind the piece of trim and go ahead and install it. Finish nailing this down. Let's give a final look at the door with the trim on. I did fix this side of the trim by adding in those little sliver pieces of wood. Once you caulk and paint it, there's no way you're ever gonna see it, but overall it looks pretty good. So let's continue on to the next one and just keep knocking these out. Oh boy. So we got a pretty big gap right here. I need to trace it with a pencil of where the trim's gonna go, and I'm gonna cut back the drywall so that it's a nice snug fit. You won't be able to notice because you can't see the side profile of the trim, but straight on, trust me, you won't notice it. I'm doing my business in here. All right, let's give it another shot. Think we shoot it. It's a little tight in here. All right, this one's good to go. On to the next. The next door we're starting is right here. I already made up the trim. Here it is. Let's give it a little tester fit. This is gonna work. Again, I'm lining up the door frame to match the markings for the 1/4 inch reveal. Right here, here. But one thing you want to notice when cutting out the trim out of these primed pine boards is one side is going to be a finished side and the other side is going to have the sticker. You tend to want to have the finished side as the side that doesn't have the sticker on it. I've already screwed up on this twice. I have the top piece of trim that has a sticker, and then this bottom also has another sticker. So just something to be aware of. Again, it's not the end of the world, but you can kind of see those imperfections that I'll probably have to work out. Next up is the end of the hallway door. Looks like I'm gonna have to use the same tactic I did with the half bath to this door. Between the drywall, trim, and jamb, there's probably about maybe a little bit less than a 1/2 inch gap. So I'm gonna mark it out with my oscillating tool and just cut around it, probably about a foot down from that corner and a foot over, and we'll set it into place. No, gotta jack that up. This door is trimmed out, it's good to go. We'll move on to the next one. We'll just check the gap real quick. I was able to cut back that drywall, so now the trim sits flush with the jamb. I did cut it back a little bit too much on the left-hand side. Maybe I can get away with some caulk, or have to fill it back in with sheetrock mud. I'll figure out something, but that was on me. We're in the master bedroom. Let's go ahead and make up the trim. I can already see there being another issue. Even before I put on the trim, that top right corner, before we get into that, let's just go ahead and set the trim and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So what I got here is in this top left-hand corner, I have about a pencil-sized gap that I can fit between the jamb and the trim, which is not gonna work out. So I'm gonna have to do like I did on the other doors and cut those strips, those wood filler strips, put them on before, then go ahead and put the trim on and kind of blend it all together. Let's go ahead and set the legs first. All right, that's all I got for tonight. We were able to trim out all the interior doors in our hallway. The next step is, of course, caulking and then painting. I gotta go back over all those little nail holes that I hit with the trim nailer. Those have to be filled, sanded, caulked, and then we can be ready for paint. Stay tuned for that. I'm gonna be switching gears and moving into the kitchen now. I think that's a good place to start. If you're interested in seeing how I made an archway from our dining room to our living room, I'll leave that video right here, so go check that out. But I'm out of here. I'll see you on the next one.